morning, welcome back to the channel. Today is finally the day we're going to be installing our new Starlink system. We've been waiting for this for quite a while. We're stuck with using DSL connection here, and it's not great. We get about 50 meg down and about 5 meg up, and the uploads is what really sucks. It can't even handle my security cameras, so it's just not doing it. So we decided to go with Starlink. What we've been seeing from other people is they're getting anywhere upwards of 200 plus meg down, and usually around 17-18 megs up. So that's quite an improvement. You know, it's 4 times the down and 3 to almost 4 times the up. So we'll see how that works out. So I'm sure you've seen many unboxings of the Starlink system. If not, here it is. This is basically it. If you're curious how long it took us, we put down the deposit for it about 2.5 months before we were notified that they were processing our order and we're going to ship out. Throughout that time, it took them at least a couple of weeks to ship it out, and the shipping dates continued to change throughout that process. But eventually it came, and it came right around the end of their first prediction of shipping time. So it took about 2 weeks to get it. Once they shipped it, it was here in a matter of 4 days, I think it was. I think they shipped it out on Monday. We got it 3 days. We got it Wednesday. So very fast. They used UPS Air, and it got to us. So this is the IKEA instructions, as everybody calls them. Basically gives you the easiest rundown ever of how it's going to work. And then you got a chunk of plastic. You got the tripod mount, which we're not going to use. I'm going to pole mount. I'm making my own pole mount because I didn't know exactly where I was going to mount this. So I'm using some leftover pipe that I have laying around to make my own pole mount. Just a little wire holder. So right here you got your rotor. Looks very basic. Everybody says it's a very basic rotor. No, nothing special. It's got your line in, and looks like an auxiliary. Calls it. So this might be just a base Wi-Fi. That looks like an Ethernet connection though. So I don't know. We'll see if you can actually calls it aux. It doesn't say it's an Ethernet port though. So I don't know if that works as an Ethernet port or not. We're gonna have to check that out. Hopefully it does, because that was my plan for now. Otherwise, I think I'm going to get rid of this and buy a quality router. From there, you got the little bit of white Ethernet that goes to your PoE injector. PoE is power over Ethernet. So this is strictly data on the white side, and then on this side, this goes to the dish, which carries your data, as well as this is a power supply that injects your power on top of this Ethernet to power the dish itself. The white looks like you got, I don't know, maybe 3 feet, and on the gray side going to your dish, it's supposed to be 100 feet. So quite a bit of cable. And the dish itself obviously has to be outside, but this is not weatherproof. This has to be inside, and obviously it's power, so you don't want to be letting that get wet, and obviously this needs to be inside as well and protected there. And then you got the dish itself, which everybody seems to like to call dishy. If you're curious, I had to open up the box ahead of time to find out the size of this adapter. This is an 1.5 inch outer. Let's see if you're actually in the frame here. Yeah, okay. This is an 1.5 inch outer diameter. So if you're going to make your own pole mount, you want an 1.5 inch internal diameter. to mount this directly to it. I got lucky and I actually happen to have a piece of aluminum pipe here that is going to work just perfect. So, and then I don't believe there's anything else, nothing else down there. Your simplified user manual, which I actually read it. Basically all it does, give you a few specs and all your conditions and, you know, meeting your FCC regulations, stuff like that. The only specifications that I actually found helpful in here is your environmental specifications. So gives you your outdoor for Starlink dish and your interior power supply and router specs. So for the dish itself, I don't know if you really care about the internal, but the operating temperature for the dish is -30 to +50 Celsius, which equals -22 Fahrenheit to +122 Fahrenheit. That I'm hoping they're a little conservative on, because we will hit -30 to -40 throughout the winter. Sometimes only, you know, overnight or something. Other times it can be for a week, 2 weeks straight, stuff like that. So yeah, I'm not too sure about that. Hopefully it doesn't shut down on me. That's another reason why I'm actually pole mounting it instead of putting it on the house, is if I have to, I can service the dish a lot easier. Even potentially warm it up with a little propane heater or something if I have to. I don't know. And then your relative humidity is 10 to 90%, so pretty much any environment you're in. I guess, you know, rainforest can hit 100% humidity basically, I guess. But what else you got here? And then your power supply and your router, they're good for 0 to +30 Celsius or 32 to 86 Fahrenheit and 20 to 80% relative humidity. So, and that's basically it. It looks like a fairly large book, but it's really about 1 page per language. At least for the English side, it was 1 page. So, but it does cover a ton of languages, so should cover you there. But that's about it for this. Is you know, it says a million unboxing videos, so I don't know how much value you get out of that, but I'm going to get on to installing this and we'll run through that process. Okay, so the first thing you need to do when doing the install is to pick a location. Wherever you want to mount it, whether that's on the roof of your house, whether it's just using the tripod somewhere out, if you got enough open area to put it down on the ground, put it on a deck, whatever. Starlink does sell several mounts options. They sell what they call a pole mount, which is basically a chunk of tube. Yeah, I can go buy it cheaper, actually half the price at my local hardware store. Or you can buy a volcano mount to put it on the roof, or I don't know what else I've seen for mounts that they have, but they got a couple options that you can do. I'm doing a pole mount, but I already have some tube laying around, so we're going to use that. Now I'm going to put it right off of my deck here. We're basically going to sandwich it right in the railing where it goes down for the stairs, and up top, right in that corner. It should hold nice, steady, and strong. But once you've determined where you would like to put the dish, you need to go into the Starlink app and do the check for obstructions section in that app. Now what that's going to do is it's going to basically let you know what your likelihood of an outage is going to be. If you have trees in the way, stuff like that, it's going to impact your internet. And it could be anywhere from every few seconds if you got a lot of coverage to half hour or whatever. I've seen anywhere from like 17 seconds. It said at one point it said I'd have an outage every 17 seconds to this actual location, but a couple inches lower than I was gonna mount. Said I would have an outage every half an hour. How long that outage would be, it doesn't tell you. It could be just a matter of a couple of seconds. I have no idea. But all I did was raise my phone another couple inches and it went clear, and all that it caught was the tip of one of my large pine trees. You can kind of see the one in the back right here. It caught a bit of a tip of that one, and then I have one on the opposite side here that's even taller, and it caught a little bit of the top of that. By raising my phone just a few more inches, I was able to clear the tips of those trees, and I had a clear line of sight with no estimated outages. So that's a very important thing to do. Check for those, and it can be anywhere. Like, it doesn't need to be much. Like, it really caught almost nothing of the tips of my trees and was still going to cause me outages. So once you're in the app, go to check for obstructions and click that button. Once you click that button, it gives you 3 little tips here. Find a good location, scan the entire sky, stand still, move your phone around. What you want to do is, you don't want to be with your phone like this, moving your actual phone around physically. What you want to do is act as though your phone is on the central pivot of the satellite dish, and then just pivot it back and forth as you scan the sky. And as you do that, what it's going to do is, there's a shaded section and then there's a non-shaded section that your camera picks up. And the non-shaded section is the line of sight the satellite needs to the sky. So if any obstructions fall inside that non-shaded section, that's going to cause you issues. And what they have is, they have a bunch of green dots in there. Basically, as you're going around in that non-shaded section, you're going to collect all those green dots, and it's going to give you a percentage sign as you do that. And once it hits 100%, then you can go ahead and it will say it's calculating your obstructions or something like that. I'll do it on my phone and you can see. So here I am. We're going to hold this up right here, right where I'm planning on putting the dish anyways, and I'm just going to hit I'm ready. And right away I collected like 38% of the green dots. So far I don't see any obstructions, and I'm just going around the shaded section trying to not move my phone. And I got 99, so I'm missing one more green dot. Where is it? Oh, there it is. There we go. And then what it does is, it gives me a view results. So I click on the view results and it says estimating obstructions. Now it's going through, just counting up percentage wise, and estimated obstruction. It says this is a great place for your Starlink. So in other words, it hasn't found any obstructions. Now you can move this around and look around, and you can see at the bottom it says clear view or obstructions. So obstructions would be red spots on your section there, and the blue is basically, it's the non-shaded section that you just scanned. And if you were to see any red in there, you would have obstructions, or at least if it told you you had obstructions, it would tell you where they were. And I am absolutely clear. So that's perfect. We're going to put it right here, and the dish is actually going to be a little bit higher than what I even held my phone. So I think we're going to be good. We definitely shouldn't catch any obstructions whatsoever. So I think we'll get on to making this pole mount. I need to drill a bunch of holes and put in a bunch of bolts to make it stronger, less flimsy. But basically this pole goes all the way down to the ground. It's going to sit right down the corner there. It's going to sit right in this corner, and I'm basically going to strap it to the rail. And then this gray pipe that's going all the way down is in sections of about 3 feet, the darker gray pipe, I guess. And then this one, because this pipe is actually, it's 1 3/8 inches, I think, outer or inner diameter, I need 1.5 inches to work with the pole mount on the dish itself. This is 1.5 inches internal diameter. So on top of the pole that's going all the way down to the ground, that's going to brace it, I've put this in here. I'm going to bolt it in a couple of spots in 2 different directions, and then the dish is basically going to sit right on top of that, and we're going to be set, and then I can just run the cable to the house. So we're going to get onto this and get it going. Okay, so I thought, just as a quick comparison to the mount that comes with the dish, with Dishy, compared to what I'm building here, I would see just how much play there is, because I'm a little curious as to if there's too much play in here and the dish gets to move too much, would it actually cause me to have outages in that regard? So here it is, sitting in its stock mount the way it's supposed to be, and look at how much play that dish has. Like, I'll move it from up here. You know, if you can see that, hopefully it'll shows up on the thing. But like, this thing moves in all directions by like quite a bit of play in there total. So we're gonna see what the difference is there on just how bad it is. Okay, so it looks like I lost the video for the actual creating of the pole mount for the Starlink system. So I'm just gonna talk through it. I have a couple pictures of it. Basically, I took these sections of pole, put them together. The lower ones I didn't bother putting any bolts through them or anything else. They actually sleeve together. So, but all they're doing is holding the weight of this Starlink system, like, you know, so basically compressing downwards. The upper parts where it's actually strapped to the deck, and here's a picture of it sitting in its position here. I put in bolts going at 90 degrees opposite of each other through at every joint, so that that would take out play in the joints, so that, you know, it basically won't wobble around as much. The pull at the bottom, because I wasn't sure exactly if this was going to be where I was going to leave the system or not, I used a concrete footing block. It's one of those ones that they're, I don't know, 8" by 8" 10" by 10" square, kind of pyramid-y looking things, and they got a hole right in the center that works great. Put a pipe down through. So I used one of those for a stabilizing foot instead of actually concreting it into the ground. And then as it connects to the deck there, it's strapped in a few places right in the corner of the deck rail and the stair railing. And then after that, it goes up to that larger piece of pipe that the Starlink just fit into. It was 1.5 inches internal diameter on that pipe, according to my caliper, but I still had to work the Starlink. I actually used some soap and everything to try to work it in there, and at the very end of that bit, or the last little bit to get it in all the way, I actually ended up just using its own weight and just kind of dropping it from, say, maybe 6 inches a foot off the ground. And so that the weight of the Starlink would just kind of hammer its way down. I took the chance, you know, I could have easily broken the system, the motor components and stuff that hold that there, but it seems to be working fine. Didn't cause any damage in my experience. And then the Starlink itself has just a couple of squeeze tabs that lock it in place on their mounts. So I just drilled holes in the pipe to correspond with those squeeze tabs, and it just snapped right into place for me. And then after that, I ran the network cable down the pole. I gave it a couple of wraps on the pole, and I left a little bit of play near the top up by the dish itself. And then ran it down the pole and then underneath the deck to the house. Now, because we're also on satellite TV system, I have 3 satellite lines, coax lines, running around the perimeter of the house to the one side, and where it enters in through our laundry room. And then from there, it branches off to the bedrooms or wherever else we need it. So I basically just followed that exact same route with the Starlink network cable, just zip tying it to those satellite lines. And then when I got to the point of entry on the house, I'll show a picture here, I installed a LB conduit. You can see the other 3 satellite lines there. Every time I have a new line put in, because it's up on the roof and I can't get up on the roof, I always end up having to get somebody to do that for me. They always just drill a new hole in the house and run the cable in, and it's like, well, I'm kind of getting tired of having random holes drilled through the house. So I figured I'll put this LB in. It's 1.5 inch connector. The actual diameter, pipe diameter that goes into the wall, through the wall, is 1.5 inch one. The satellite line goes, or the Starlink network cable goes through there, and then if I have to ever replace those coax cables for the satellite, or if I want more installed, whatever, now they can just go through that LB conduit instead of drilling more and more holes in the house. And then those holes can eventually be permanently sealed, re-sided over, and you'll never know they're there. And then afterwards, you can just stuff that LB with a little bit of insulation to prevent the wind from getting up in through there and entering the house as well. So that is that. We'll carry on to the footage I do have here that shows the actual setup in the app and whatnot. Okay, now that we got everything installed, it's all ran up into the house. We got the dish up. Now I'm going to do the initial power on, and we can actually watch the dish, search, and find the satellites. So I actually have this set up on a smart switch, so I'm just going to turn it on using my phone, and we'll see how it goes. So there we go, it is turned on. We'll see how long it takes for it to boot up here, and then we'll go from there. See what this thing does. Nothing yet, but I'm sure it's going to take it a few seconds to boot up, half a minute, maybe even a couple minutes, I don't know. We'll see how it goes. And this is the actual first boot up. I have not powered this dish on until right now. So you can hear the motor work there as it positioned itself. Is it happy with where it is? I don't know. Well, it must have good orientation at that point, I guess. We'll watch it just a little bit longer and see if it makes any more adjustments. We got a little bit of wind today, so you can see a wee bit of movement in my pole mount, but I think even that bit of movement's less than what it would get just on that tripod, just with me moving it with my hand. So it's pretty good. See what it does here. Okay, I'm just starting up the Starlink app right now, and I'm just going to start my setup here for the dish and see what happens here. So it goes, plug it in, did all that. I'm going to say next, connect to Wi-Fi, open Wi-Fi settings. Okay, let's open up my Wi-Fi settings. And I'm going to find Starlink. There we are, Starlink 0576. You can see my current one there. And now I'm connecting. Connected, sign into network. Sign into a Wi-Fi network, Starlink. Okay. Let's jump back over to the app. Okay, now it wants us to set up our Wi-Fi name. So, how do you spell it? Witness. It's got to be all one word, eh? No, it doesn't. Witness protection. Password. It's gonna show it. I'll just wipe it out later. Okay, just customize the Wi-Fi. Okay, and then open Wi-Fi settings. It says checking the quality, and it says I'm connected. That is fantastic. Let's run a speed test. Now I'm quite a ways away from the router right now. It's downstairs in the basement. I am upstairs and outside. So let's see what we get. Well, it says I'm going through my TELUS connection. Why would I be going through my TELUS connection? But you can see how crappy that is. So 20-second ping on TELUS. Obviously it says I'm going through TELUS, and that definitely corresponds with what I usually get through TELUS. So 40 megs down, 4.21 up. Let's get rid of the ad. Let's close this out. We'll go back into my Wi-Fi settings. Not want to do that. Just go into Wi-Fi. Oh, you know why it's done that is because alright, I actually gotta log into the actual Starlink one. Alright, now we're on Starlink. So let's see what the speed test is through Starlink. Well, it's SpaceX Starlink. Finding a server, WestNet Wireless in Calgary. And we are pulling 61. We are pretty cloudy day today. 66, 67, 70, 73. Climbed to about 73. But look at that up. Wow, that upstream's way better. We're up to 17. Almost 18. And that is a difference of that router is actually downstairs in the basement, where the TELUS one is actually a matter of I don't know, maybe 10 feet away from me. So having a better connection to the router definitely could make a difference. I'm gonna go downstairs and rerun those tests when I actually got the router closer to me. But that is awesome. It's working. Right on. Well, as soon as I turned the camera off, the dish decided to reposition itself again. And so now you can actually see the difference in where the slot is for the bar for it to rotate. And now it's actually facing a little bit north over south, almost straight up before. Now hopefully that isn't catching that tree in the way. I really hope not. When I did my site audit with the app, it said it was clear and the tree was not in the way, and the dish is up even higher than what I held my phone at to do the site audit. So hopefully that's the case. Now I wonder with that if I'm going to get better speed settings. So I'm going to set the camera up here again, and I'm just going to run another speed test on here and see what we get. So I'll make sure I'm still on the right one. Okay, I am still connected to the Starlink system, and let's run a speed test. See here, just getting it loaded up here. So we're just going to run the speed test now, and we'll see if it's got a better connection to a better satellite. So still going to WestNet Wireless, and still says it's through SpaceX, and well, we jumped up to about 83, 84 there. So we're running a little over 80 down, and oh man, we actually hit 23, 24 up. So we're getting a better uplink right now. It's stabilized now at about 21.7, so not bad at all. Not getting as much down as I was hoping, but we are getting the upload, which is what I really wanted anyways. We'll see how this keeps going as time goes on. I'm going to keep my DSL line for at least a week anyways as we test this out, and we'll run off of both systems for a bit. But again, 88 down now, 31 millisecond ping. That's not bad, I don't think. And we're running about 16 and a half up on that test. So, you know, it's bouncing a little bit, but not too bad. Let's run one more. Ping was 30 milliseconds, jitter 7 milliseconds. It's pretty good. We're not detecting no loss, and we actually broke 90 there down. Finished off at 89.6, and on the up we are pushing in. Well, we were up at the 20s. Now we're finishing off in 15 and a half, but we were up in the 20s for a bit there too. So, you know, that's looking pretty good to me. I think we're doing all right. So we'll close this up. Hopefully it doesn't just start working for me again as I turn off the camera, and we'll go from there and do some more testing, some more validation on it. But it did definitely reposition on its own, so that's cool. So at this point we've been using the Starlink system for a little while now. It's been working quite well. It's definitely performing better than our DSL connection was, and it's been working really good. We're not too fond of the router itself. It's pretty limited in what it can do, and in its capabilities to today's new standards. So it's probably going to be getting replaced, but other than that, we're pretty happy with it. Please subscribe, hit the bell notification, and give this video a like. Thank you. Have a great day.